Hello there, I'm Mattias Andersson, and I have a question for you. How long is this video? This is a question that you can answer, but I cannot, at least not yet. Since I've just started recording it, I won't know how long it is until it's done. But I can tell you that it will be as long as it needs to be and no longer. That is just one of the superpowers of online teaching that we'll cover in this video. Now, if you're just joining our series, feel free to jump back to our earlier episodes to learn about the context of online teaching, its key differences from in-person teaching, and how to overcome those challenges. But in this video, we're going to look at the things that make online teaching so special. Things that you can do so that your students learn even better than they would have in a classroom. Curious? Well, let's dive in. Okay, let me start by pointing out that what I'm recommending is not only based on our experiences at A Cloud Guru, but also on the science of learning itself. If you want to look up some of these things for yourself, you can search for terms like primacy effect, recency effect, chunking, and priming. But the most important topic is called distributed practice, and I'll attach a link to this video for you. Distributed practice is where you break your teaching up into lots of smaller bits. And this is especially powerful when the lessons are pre-recorded instead of live. Now, you might think that this could get annoying for your students with all of the stopping and starting like that, or that what you say to tie all of the lessons together, the extra bit of repetition of what was and what will be covered in each lesson, might also be wasting your students' time. But you'd be wrong. In fact, the truth is very much the opposite. The studies show that students learn much more effectively when the lessons are kept short and focused on one topic at a time. And this is just simply because of the structure, but there are more benefits too. For example, students will have a much easier time fitting shorter pre-recorded lessons into their busy and sometimes unpredictable schedules. Now, I know that not all of your students will be like ours at A Cloud Guru, but we have people from all walks of life trying to create a better future for themselves by learning to cloud whenever they can, on their work breaks, before they roll out of bed in the morning, or even standing in line at the store. These little minutes can really add up, and we love enabling our students to take advantage of them. So let's get practical. What does this all mean for you? Well, a good guideline is that you should try to make each of your lessons be between 5 and 10 minutes long. But there are some valid exceptions, so don't treat this as a strict rule. First of all, having some particular lesson be shorter than the 5 minutes can really make an impact. Maybe that concept is simple enough, the idea that you're teaching just doesn't require any more time. But giving that topic its own lesson makes it stand out, both in your course outline and in your students' minds. And the opposite side of the length spectrum can also have an effect. If your lesson really needs to go longer than 10 minutes, then you're emphasizing how critically interconnected the parts of that lesson really are. But use this technique sparingly because you're requiring a lot more mental energy from your students and also making it harder for them to find the time for that particular lesson. But it's not only that you should keep your lessons short either. It's best when your students don't go through all of them in a row. So you should have them do something else in between, and especially if that something else reinforces your syllabus in a different way. Let me explain. Have you ever heard of learning styles or learning modalities? Well, if you have, then what you believe about them is probably wrong. Check the attached link. But it's still fine because the key takeaway is the same. You should try to present your material visually, audibly, and with a hands-on component. And this combines perfectly with distributed practice. Don't just send your students away between your small lessons. Instead, give them something to do with it. Have you ever tried to lead a larger group of people through some hands-on activity? Invariably, some people will blast through it at light speed and finish the whole thing, while others are still on step 1, right? This means that you'll be forced to sacrifice the fast people's time and the slow people's learning as you aim somewhere in the middle of your group. This discourages a lot of teachers from even doing these sorts of things in the first place. But this is another superpower of online teaching, that these super valuable hands-on activities can take exactly as long as each student needs. So interleave your lessons with different ways of interacting with the material. And it's great if that includes some combinations of the material that you've already covered so far, even if it's several lessons back. This will bring the ideas to life and make them stick with your students even better than you expected. The last thing I want to leave you with in this video ties back to the first question I asked you. How long is this video? I still don't know the answer, but I want to contrast whatever it is to this. Hey Google, how many minutes has it been since 11:57 a.m. today?
40 minutes 37 seconds.
I guarantee you that this is much longer than the current runtime, right? So why is that? I'm going to list some of the things that regularly impact how long it takes me to record a video like this, but feel free to pause and think up as many of your own ideas as you can first. Like right now, I mean. How many can you list? Okay, there are lots of reasons it could take me a while to record a short video. The first one is me messing up what I'm going to say. Maybe I put the emphasis on the wrong syllable, or I just say the wrong word, or I feel uncomfortable, or maybe I forget to smile and engage, and so it feels too flat, whatever it might be. Another reason is me recognizing mid-record that there's some better way to present what I'm covering, so I may stop and tweak it before continuing. Noises that I think might affect the recording will also make me jump back a little bit and re-record something. It could be a plane flying by, or a siren in the distance, or a loud car on that road out there. Noises that I know affect the sound quality will also make me re-record. In this place, I have to remember to switch off the furnace while I'm recording because it's just on the other side of that wall right there, and the noise comes through that vent up there. And in the place I used to record, which didn't look like it but was actually our kitchen, I would have to remember to unplug the surprisingly loud refrigerator. Thankfully, I did always remember to plug it back in before any food spoiled. Family interruptions are another reason recording might sometimes take longer, especially right now when everyone else in my house is working from home all day too. And finally, I always try to do 2 full runs through video recordings like these to make sure that we have options during video editing. Hey Google, how many minutes has it been since 11:57 a.m. today?
43 minutes 44 seconds.
See? Being able to throw away what's not as good so that what remains is much better, that is one of the superpowers of online teaching. So don't feel bad if, or I should say when, what you record isn't perfect. Embrace it instead. Okay, so now we've seen how we can leverage the online medium to make our teaching more effective, but we're not done yet. In the upcoming videos, let's continue our exploration of how to teach online by looking at some of the other steps in our breakdown of the mechanics of teaching. And if you aren't sure what I mean by that, you should probably pop back to that earlier video in this series where I described it. Of course, the choice is up to you, and I'll see you in the next video, whichever one you choose. Oh, but before that, how about you sit down and think about the most recent thing that you've taught? How could you have broken that down into smaller pieces? And what hands-on activities could you have suggested for your students to go through between them to really lock those things in? All right, stay safe and keep being awesome.